policing was absolutely well handled by the Royal Malaysian Police in terms of the restraint they showed, in terms of the crowd control, in terms of managing the traffic. The traffic was not caused by the people participating in the demonstration, but by the police. But the police were doing the roadblocks, were handling the roadblocks precisely because there was a demonstration. So it always gets back to that.
And yeah, let me come back to you. I mean, just to respond to that point that you just made, was it well handled?
Well, I have mixed feelings about this. I think I've heard stories of how some police officers actually assisted marchers as they moved to the Agong's palace. But I also have information about what happened in Masjid Jamek. I've also read of some use of force, some say unnecessary use of force in Jalan Maharaja later. So my sense of it is fairly mixed.
The government information minister has accused Al Jazeera of wrongly saying that force was used, and yet in the very next breath he said only water cannon and tear gas were used. Now, where is the line between force and non-force?
Well, you have to express there are no other means to do so, and the only legitimate means is to use the water cannon and also to use the tear gas. And I know the police has not used any force because for obvious reasons, the world has known that there's going to be a big rally on the 10th, and we were under public scrutiny, not just Malaysia. Al Jazeera, within minutes can distribute whatever information to the whole world. So that's pretty obvious that the police will not use any force because we were under close scrutiny by the whole world.
When 20, 40, 60,000 people descend upon the centre of town, at what point do you decide that the rational way to handle this is to try and get them to go away rather than just say, okay, get on with it, get it over with, and let's move on?
The point is they can't do this because, we have Section 27 of the Police Act, which does not allow for this. And we also have Section 141 under the Penal Code, which also does not allow for this for obvious reasons. Because
the law allows for marches. It's merely a matter of political decision to say this one is okay, that one isn't.
We don't allow this because we have historical background to this. We are a multi-ethnic country.
My point being that, let's say if UMNO had applied for a permit to the police to go to the King's House and present a petition, do you think that would have been granted?
Can I just answer your original question about when the police decides on how to handle this? I think they decided to handle it precisely how you described it, which was after a while, the demonstrators, the protesters, those gathered there were allowed to go to the King's residence, palace, and hand over the memorandum. And that's precisely
after a while, after the
that's precisely what happened. The water cannons and the tear gas were contained to a particular area, which Imtiaz referred to earlier. But the others were allowed, as he said, were given free passage to the palace to hand over the memorandum. So these are all police standard operating procedures.
The characterization of people who are demanding or at least suggesting political changes as somehow being dangerous to the environment. How do you respond to that?
I don't agree with that characterization at all. I think there was a different way you could handle this. There could have been negotiations, and we've heard no information about an attempt by the police to negotiate with the leaders of the groups that were marching in. And I think if the whole point had been to shunt them to the Agong's palace, that could have happened. There was no need to open up with the water cannons. There was no need to spray water which we know is laced with chemicals.
We'll be back in just a few more minutes. Thank you.